So I'm gonna take a little leap of faith here and assume that you know of Rick and Morty, and if not, that it's at least been in your peripheral vision. After all, the marketing monolith stands with the giants of Nightmare Before Christmas and Pokemon for things that you can buy a shit ton of merchandise of from Hot Topic. Now, if you're like me, the reason Solar Opposites popped up on your radar at all is because it's by the creators of Rick and Morty. Well, kinda. See, you got Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon, co-creators of Rick and Morty. Now, take Danny Boy out of the picture, and replace him with Mike McMahon, who was a writer on several episodes. Now, get these two alone in a sleazy motel room between seasons 2 and 3, and bam! A Hulu original is born about 4-ish years later from the affair. Long time to hold a baby, Justin. Oh, he has your eyes. Now, if you were hoping to see some crossover or references to Rick and Morty, then I'm afraid you're gonna be disappointed, because there aren't any, except for one poster that looks like Summer. Now, this could be due to not wanting to affect the laws of the universe in each other's worlds, or good old-fashioned legal reasons, or maybe even a mutual understanding between the writers. Either way, I do think it's a shame that there aren't even a few callouts for fans. So, like Justin's previous work, there still retains a fair amount of dark humor in this new series. However, the show doesn't have the same tight structure or outlandish plots that Dan Harmon taps into, which is where things start to fall apart. From the ground up, Solar Opposites isn't supposed to be more Rick and Morty. In interviews, the creators of Solar Opposites expressed how they wanted this new show to be more like a family sitcom.
It starts off and it feels familiar.
Like a family-style animated show?
And then we take it to the most insane places you could ever imagine.
Of course, still retaining their own stylings of humor.
Behold, our new robot.
Wow, that was fast!
I used a lot of parts from the last robot I made.
The one that was supposed to kill those kids who threw a cup of pee at you? You got over that?
For the moment, they may keep their lives.
The ultimate result is that the characters are more trying to fit into the world around them, relying on a lot of tropes that are just too familiar. Oh, look, the kids are having trouble fitting in at school and everyone hates them because they're different. I've never ever seen that before. However, there's an even bigger issue, and it's that there's no consequence for the characters' actions. The creators even expressed that this was intentional. And even though the lack of repercussions was done by design, I don't feel that it makes the show better for it. It may be easier to write, but it also makes it harder to get invested in. So when the protagonists shrink Ray a bus stop booth, squishing the elderly couple into pizza sauce, they don't care, and neither does anyone else. The gore loses its effect. Now, Rick and Morty sidesteps this pitfall in two ways. The first being that having the events frequently take place on another world or dimension allows the duo to cause a lot of trouble in the universe without it following them home. And two, Morty's horror at the death he sees. Because it has an impact on him, it can then have an impact on the audience. Yet, Solar Opposites avoids both long-term consequences or even immediate character reaction to horror at all costs, and thus is weaker for it. And trust me, there is a lot of gruesome deaths.
Stick my knife up your...
Sweet Szechuan sauce, that is horrifying! What do these creators have against ocular globes? I wouldn't be surprised if they have the Neversoft logo tattooed on their ass cheeks. Extreme violence aside, family-structured sitcoms have been around for a long time for a reason. Dynamic, differentiating personalities allow for conflict, as well as growing an attachment to each individual as you learn more about them over the course of the series. I could list a bunch of character names, and you immediately can recall aspects of their personality. Homer Simpson, Bender, Fred Flintstone, Daria, even Peter Griffin. Each one is different and is memorable. And Solar Opposites is right up there with deep characters that... Wait, no. I think you know literally everything about them from the trailer.
Oh, don't throw that out. I can sell it.
It has an unstable gray hole inside.
You're an unstable gray hole.
Nice.
Yeah, that about sums it up.
We're unlikable, aren't we?
There is no further depth. Like a week-old coffee spill. I don't think I have ever seen characters who were so incredibly static after spending a whole 7 half-hour episodes with them, but I'll break them down anyway. Corvo and Terry are the adults of the family. Corvo is scientifically smart, but not clever. As such, he knows how to use the more advanced toys on the ship, but he shows no sign of forward thinking or spur-of-the-moment improvisation. As such, when things go wrong, he is just as helpless as Terry. He is usually more reserved, as long as he isn't agitated or stressing out. And he holds a general disdain towards humanity, most likely knowing that once the pupa reaches its final form, that everyone's gonna be eradicated anyway.
Once this thing evolves into its ultimate form, it'll consume everything on this planet and terraform it to become our new home world.
But he still gets caught up in trying to fit in, or whatever strikes his fancy that day. Still, his dry delivery allows for some good jokes.
We're aliens. Our ways are mysterious. We can't be judged by human standards. Now let's get out of here before we get arrested for all this shit.
Terry is more of a man-child. While technically supposed to be the expert on raising the pupa, he has no friggin' clue, and is obsessed with Earth's television.
When does the dumb ray wear off?
I want White Castle.
Is this what I sound like all the time?
Oh, Terry, let's watch all the Resident Evils.
Yeah, that's me.
Yet his outgoing, devil-may-care attitude is a good contrast to Corvo. Then there are the kids, Yumulok and Jesse. Yumulok is really forgettable. His presence doesn't really make any scene he is in better, other than the one time he eats crack. He's the regular, bratty, self-centered brother, with perhaps the largest disdain towards humanity. He does, however, serve one important purpose, which I'll get into later. Next up is
Mrs. Bighead?
Jesse, not from Pokemon. No, go away. The character is very earnest in trying to get along with everyone, both human and alien, and as such is the most relatable, you know, as far as a bipedal tadpole can be. Lastly is the pupa, which is supposedly how the aliens plan on turning Earth into a planet similar to their homeworld, either through destroying humanity or terraforming or something.
Can I just quit school? What does it matter anyway? The pupa is gonna evolve into its true form and destroy this planet. Can I just watch TV until that happens?
The little dude has his minor subplots, but once again, there are no consequences. Because the pupa doesn't talk to anyone, you see him doing these actions, wondering what his purpose might be, but like everything else, there just isn't much of a point. Now, despite my criticisms of the characters themselves, there are still some clever jokes. I just felt that they were brought down by the show's lack of consequence, making everything feel kind of moot. Overall, when the show is about the protagonists, I have to say that it's just passable. There isn't anything that really felt like I should come back for more. Except there is, and that is the subplot. No, not the pupa. Think smaller. I'm talking about the wall. Not that wall. I mean the alien ant farm. Close enough. You just gotta shrink them down, drop them into a terrarium, give them a diet of candy, and watch as everything dissolves into a Mad Max dystopia run by a dictatorship at the brink of a revolution, and you have yourself the wall subplot. And if that sounds awesome, it actually is. Unlike the aliens' adventures, which lacks any repercussions for their actions, the wall is more of a comedic drama that constantly grows upon itself. It has twists and turns, but the deaths of allies, even when done as a joke, come with a weight on the survivors that allow for the audience to connect to these characters in a way that you just don't see anywhere else in the show. And it helps that the world within the wall is pretty cool. The characters barter for what supplies they need, and use improvised weapons made of toothpicks. It all makes sense, and is much more interesting visually than the sci-fi stuff. It's ironic that the little people have the largest impact. You see what I did there? Ha ha ha! I'm funny. Initially, the wall starts out as a nice aside to the protagonist's mishaps, dipping in and out as we learn about this crumbling world through the eyes of Nick. Then we finally hit episode 7, which takes place entirely inside the wall, and ends up being the highlight of the entire season. Right from the get-go, you can tell there was serious effort put into it, as they orchestrated almost the entire episode very dramatically. I freaking loved it. Then there's still one more episode after, but it was about the aliens, so, you know, whatever. Now, the creators have stated that there are big plans in the works for Season 2, which is already bought and paid for by Hulu. I hope that they're able to stick the landing. My one big concern is that there was still a lot that could have been done during the first season to make the aliens side of things have more meaning, so I'm worried that they won't do enough in Season 2 either to fulfill that payoff. Still, to see the continued adventures behind the glass guarantees that I will return. thanks for watching. If you disagree with what I'm saying, know that these are just my opinions, so don't take any criticisms I have to heart. And if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you'd like, subscribe, and/or leave a comment. Or don't. I'm not gonna shrink ray ya. Party on!